Hello everyone, I'm back with another ZU video this time. It's been a while, but I'm joined again with Xayah and Tack. Say hi.
Hello.
Excuse you, my name is Tasker,
Yeah.
don't you know?
No, it's not.
Shout out to those who commented that last time. Yeah, anyways. I was tired.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
Real quick. Did you actually think he was Tasker all this time?
No, because
No.
No.
It was just a miss.
I was playing with Tasker or something. Anyway, I was talking with Tasker, and then you guys have similar names, and then while I was doing the video, and anyways, you're Tack. We all know that by now for sure.
It was. Hey, I like the laugh.
Anyway, but Tasker left now, so at least the confusion there, like.
I'm still here.
No,
I'm still here though.
Anyways, okay. We're here to discuss stuff that happened in ZO, and again, a lot of stuff has occurred, not only in terms of metagame shift and whatever, but in terms of like our recognition in general, popularity, I would say. And the first thing we need to highlight, of course, is the creation of unofficial metagames and us being a part of that. So, what are you guys' thoughts on like having that? I would say it's called a gray zone in terms of being official or not. I mean, it is called unofficial, but it's better than, I guess, being in other metagames, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, obviously it is. We have a subforum now, which is the big part. Obviously, whether we're called an other meta or an unofficial metagame doesn't really impact us. The thing that impacts us is the fact that we have a subforum now. It's moderated by 5chat and myself. I am back as TL. I wasn't the TL last time, so for those of you who only follow the ZU metagame via these videos, why? And two, hi. Yeah, unofficial metagame. It's been really good for us. We are hosting a bunch of projects. We have the potential for subforum tours. We're currently doing a ladder tournament. Our VR is finally separate from all our other resources.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, that was a mess.
It's just sloppy. And of course, honestly, the biggest part, in my opinion, is that we can delete shitty posts.
Yeah!
That is so important.
Which for us, yeah, it's really important because we typically get a lot of new players. I see at least that they're their first times posting, so I don't blame them per se, but sometimes it could get out of hand, and having that moderation definitely helps for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you get someone who posts in the VR thread like Imoga should rise to C+ because it's an electric type or something like that, and.
Without any substance. If it has substance, it's fine, but usually the bad posts just don't.
Yeah,
and it's not worth it.
I wanted to highlight something. There are a lot of opinions on the VR thread. I disagree. But as long as you post reasoning, have some substance to your post, and give it something to work with, I will let it stay.
Right. I
have deleted very few posts, but those that I have are only because they're one-liners that don't give any real reasoning for it. And you can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't care. As long as you explain why. Okay?
Right. Like anything,
so,
yeah.
Because people blame every mod in every forum is getting this shit, like, they just delete posts they disagree with. I don't.
Please. No.
And no one...
Xayah, you are clearly a corrupt mod, spelled with a K, just to make the person who said it mad. I know they're gonna see this. You know who you are. I'm not gonna call you out by name, but you know who you are.
The only corrupt leader is E4 Flint, and shout out if he gets that reference. But anyways, so yeah, it's having separate threads in general just makes things way more cleaner. It's like way easier, I find, for new players to see the resources like sorted and everything, and having like the ZU official ladder tournament going on. That's pretty nice too. And also having some representation in terms of there's the ZO seasonal going on. I think we're still going to be part of other metagames Premier League from what I recall.
Yes. We're going to be part of most likely either the Premier League or Snake.
Right.
And that's going to depend on it's going to be either. So it's a bit of a weird situation. I can't say too much about this, but basically it's going to be either us or another metagame. And both of those two metagames are going to completely crash and burn when Sword and Shield is released. And Snake is most likely going to take place after Sword and Shield gets released. So one of the two is going to be really in an awkward spot in Snake.
Well, I think Snake...
Rest in peace, Stabons.
My baby. Anyways, I think Snake started last time, if I recall, like in September and October, and Sword and Shield are set to release in November, right? So
yeah, but from what I heard, it's going to most likely be either around or after the release of Sword and Shield. Which really fucks with whatever metagame. Like, if we're basically the thing is, if Sword and Shield releases, we won't exist until
like a year.
But I mean,
August.
it's not like we don't exist. Like, it like happened. Look what happened with PO this generation, where they got delays and delays. People were still playing like Aura's PO, and I mean, like, I think.
Oh yeah, we won't be completely dead, but we like won't have a real metagame to represent in Snake.
Like, the most recent, I guess, yeah. But
we would have to decide between either playing SM or pre-alpha Sword and Shield,
which is highly unlikely.
Which,
with, like,
I mean,
unstable and unworth looking at. Honestly.
Even if it is stable, it'd be based on nothing.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it'd be
that's why
literally
it's not stable. That's why it's not stable.
Consist of us just selecting a list of Pokemon that we think are not unfair.
Shoutouts ADVPU.
Yeah.
Woot woot. Fun meta.
But at least for that's kind of more reasonable, because back then they didn't use the track stats, especially for like lower tier old gens. But anyway.
Yeah. It's still fun though.
Yeah. But
anyway, so we're still part of OMPL, we're still part of OM Circuit, which means that you can still play ZU to try and get a ribbon.
Yeah, that's
but after this year, we won't be. Like, after 20, this is the only year we will be a part of it, and we're looking to set up a potential UM circuit.
Right, so that's...
I'd be down. Except, that requires me playing 1v1 to do good, and 1v1 is...
1v1 is the only tier in which I actually win things, because it's just a coin flip.
Yeah, that's still up to
No,
me.
it's rock, paper, scissors, not a coin flip.
No, it's just... I played, by now, I think, 5 series in 1v1 tournaments, like a seasonal and in 1v1 PL, and all 5 of those went to 5 games.
Wow. I'm surprised. To me, I can't. It's too much of a, hacks is, so much of a factor in there. Anyways, it's not about 1v1.
Yeah.
Just to say, it's good news. Again, more good news for Azio. Never would have thought we would have got to the point of getting our own sub form in just in a year, practically.
Yeah.
Because I think we got on Smogon, the thread, I think in January.
February 29th.
Yeah,
February 29th, 2018.
So it's practically a year
a
now.
year ago.
So it's good to see the growth. Anyways, so that's in terms of outside the metagame stuff.
I also just want to quickly mention that because of the subforum we have, we're organizing our all gens, which means DPP, BW, and BW are ADV, DPP, and BW are getting developed more. ORAS is still being worked on, which is nice if you feel like playing those tiers. I personally don't. I keep myself completely out of the development, so you can't blame me if it goes wrong. Otherwise, it's fun. They're fun for some people. I don't care much about them, but
especially Zeo. I mean, ADV Zeo is really interesting. We have mons like
it's a meme.
Delabird being talked.
As someone who loves ADV, it's not fun to play.
Explain it. Tell me, is ADV ZU anything other than LC plus Dustox and Delcatty?
Let me check. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's more.
No, it's just those mons that don't evolve type of thing, and just really bad it's basically that plus LC mons, so but it's fun.
DPP is better. I heard that DPP is a lot better.
DPP is a lot better.
DPP is really, really fun, actually.
Just Dusclops is a bit of annoying, but besides that, it's good, in my opinion.
Bayonet is actually good in DPP, and I love it. Give me all the ghosts, honestly.
Anyways, okay, so that's that. Now, in terms, I want to talk a bit about what changes occurred in the metagame itself, and the last drops were disappointing to say the least. We didn't get anything really, and we lost Silvally Ghost and what's the other one?
What else did we lose?
Oh my god.
Tangela,
sorry, yes. So 2 good mons.
Right!
I know, Tangela was a really bad, because it was a great CB Kamala check, and Silvally Ghost was another mon that was picking up a lot of steam as a late, and it was a great defogger, and just Swords Dance user as well, and it was really...
We also didn't have Silvally Ghost last time we made this video.
No, it's but still.
We also, since last video, we lost Alolan Duck Trio and Roselia.
Right.
That should be mentioned.
Right.
And we gained
Rose.
so far it goes, but then lost it again. So.
Right. Which makes no sense.
I miss all of the grasses that we've lost. They're all...
Well, we still have Leafeon, but yeah.
I don't think the grasses matter too much, because as long as we have Gorgeist XL, it doesn't really matter.
And Xayah being annoying.
But I like the other grasses more.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I just wish we had like more spikers, because yeah, we have Quilladin, but Quilladin's not that good in my eyes.
Crystal,
yeah.
Quilladin's pretty good, so's Crustle.
But still, I liked Roselia as a spiker too, so it was annoying to see that go. But yeah, so those, and thank God we didn't get Rotom Frost yet, but we're just praying. Each
Rotom Frost.
Each tier shift is like, we're like holding our breaths for that, but
every time when drops are coming, Rotom Frost is at like 3 to 3.5% usage, so it's right on the border.
Right.
And we're all terrified because no one wants it.
Right, so...
ban it. Just quick ban it, please.
Hopefully...
I kind of want to play with Subsplit again, but quick ban it, please.
Well, if we look, I wouldn't expect it to drop in a quick, tier shift, but I think we have one more, 3-month tier shift left.
Should be 2 more.
Or 2
Should
more?
be July and October.
Oh, right. So we have 2 more to pray at least until the metagame gets cemented, right, when the new generation comes out. So
yeah,
we could pray for that. But besides that,
worst case scenario
yeah.
is that we get Rotom Frost right before Sword and Shield drop, which just gives us not enough time to ban it in time.
Right.
So and then the meta freezes and we can never get rid of it.
Well, you could, but then it comes to it just becomes more ambiguous because people say we're gonna get to test it.
It'd be changing old gens, and people are opposed to that. Anyway, we're hoping that doesn't happen.
Right. So besides that, there are actually some mons that were in the metagame for quite a while that started picking up, and others that dropped. So I want to talk about mons that kind of fell off a bit since our last video. One that I would highlight, I think we mentioned it last video too, but I think it's happened even to a larger extent, is Floatzel. I mean, back when it came,
I like Floatzel.
No, I'm not saying it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But just it's not the S tier. Oh my God, broken thing that we all, well, at least me, kind of initially back in the
day. Few people. No.
There were quite a few people who were calling Floatzel broken.
Yeah.
One of those was Frosty, who really led the charge. But Floatzel isn't broken by any means. Floatzel's hardly an A rank.
That's it. So
it's just really fast.
it's good on paper. In practice, it just falls short because while it's fast and it hits decently hard, it needs every single one of its options to be able to do anything reliably.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway,
it can be hard to switch into at times, but just that's mainly because water types are very good.
Right. But it's also because I think we mentioned this last time too, but the point still stands that it has many options, but it's either you're locked into choice band to get the good amount of damage output, and if you're Z move or even life orb, you could just be shy of getting those 2-hit KOs because it's not the strongest. So that's the problem I see usually with it.
I agree.
And it could sometimes it has sort of 4-slot move syndrome where having one missed move you could check by something like Gourgeist, or especially defensive Kamala if you don't have Focus Blast, or I think it gets
if you don't have specifically Z Focus Punch or Z Low Kick or whatever.
Yeah, so that's what I see with Floatzel usually. Still great, still a really fast threat. I've even seen Choice Scarf be used to beat opposing Choice Scarf Swanna and Electivire, but that's hella weak.
I haven't done that in a while.
Exactly.
Another mon that has been really falling off, kind of out of nowhere, I still don't understand why, is Gourgeist XL, because we just talked about it, right?
Yeah.
How it's basically the only grass type left. But
its spot in the meta is not very favorable right now.
I don't know
It just
why.
doesn't check.
Swanna.
Because it doesn't check
It's
the
not
mons
just
that it's supposed
Swanna.
to nearly as well as you'd expect.
Physical Swanna sets hate it.
No, physical Swanna sets beat it.
Yeah.
Most of them.
But they can never switch into it, which is that's the biggest problem, right? Swanna switches into it. Special Swanna sets into it for free, but physical Swanna sets lose if they switch in because of the burn.
Right.
Or foul play, or whatever.
No, I think you need to burn it to beat it on the switch in. But either way, I don't think Swanna and Shift are obviously very relevant, but so are Golem and Kamala and Electivire. And Electivire isn't running special much anymore. So I don't understand why Going against Excel is falling off, but it is.
Because
while the mons that it checks are very common at the moment, there are also a significant amount of mons that very, very heavily punish Gorgeist that are also becoming common.
Let me say Obama Snow, Simisear. No, Obama Snow,
okay, Obama Snow is fair. Okay.
Yeah. Because with Colberberry, it could check Shiftry, but like once the Colberberry's gone, if Shiftry manages to get a Swords Dance in the switch in, like it could be.
No.
It's not an answer to Shiftry, but it's the other. Shiftry isn't the answer to it either. Because Shiftry switching in neuters it for the rest of the game because of Will-O-Wisp.
Right. I
think Shiftry.
I think because I think it's not specific. I think it's just like the way the metagame stabilizes. Like offense is still, in my opinion, the best play style. So Gorgeist, it could be hard to fit. Like it's passive in a way. Like yes, it has moves like Leech Seed and Will-O-Wisp and stuff to punish switch-ins, but it could still just be too passive enough to function in a metagame. And another one I want to mention is Combuskin. That gives it problems.
But that's also been falling off.
Yeah.
Recently.
I've actually seen it more recently.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I saw it more before, then it dropped off.
I'm a big fan of Combuskin. I think it's really good right now.
I mean, same. It's really good, but the thing is, it's so frill that Shiftry 2 it KOs it, which is just kind of ass.
I've seen Evia Light be used now to like kind of check Shiftry. I don't think it's that good. Z moves is still like super good, or Life Orb, but
if you want to do that, just use Monferno.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, Monferno does that a lot better.
Right, because it has Slack Off too to kind of like be a good Shiftry check.
And Stealth Rock and Mach Punch.
And Taunt and U-Turn.
Yeah, Monferno. That's a mod that I feel people should use more. Monferno. Even like Choice Scarf is not that great, but like. I don't know, like even Bandit, I'm not using it, was good.
I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, which we've kind of alluded to, which is Shiftry.
So we have conflicting opinions here, I think.
Yes. Shiftry has, for context, for those of you who don't pay much attention to the forums, Shiftry has been getting calls that it's broken, based on the fact that it has very few defensive checks, if any at all. And the fact that it has Sucker Punch to neuter anything that tries to Revenge Go it. That is sort of the main two arguments, and it's argued that that is unhealthy and overpowered for the metagame. I am one of two people, with 5gen being the other one, who have responded to that so far with disagreement, because I really don't think so, and I'll get into more why soon. And there have been several people who have been calling it broken on the forums as well.
Cough, cough.
And it's a hot topic on Discord regularly. Yeah, Funbot is one of the people, I believe, that made a post on it being broken. Union Kabosh is another one. K is one. Let's make clear, both sides carry relevant users, right? Neither side should be disregarded based on who's in it.
Yeah.
No matter who is in it, right?
Right.
But especially in this situation, there are very relevant users who know the metagame very well on both sides of the argument. So this is a big thing, right? So we need to talk about it.
Okay. I would like to present my arguments first. Okay, the biggest complaint that I hear people say, what I've seen at least on PS as of late, is that, it could be offensively checked, Silvally could just U-turn and OHKO it. But my biggest thing is that people are looking... The argument of the whole vacuum thing could go on both sides. What I perceive it is that a lot of people are thinking that, okay, Silvally is just going to switch in safely and it's going to click U-turn. It's mainly speaking about like stuff like Silvally Dragon fighting, the most common ones you see, and then just offensively checks Shiftry. But my thing is that it's hard to keep like bringing in a mon that doesn't have recovery in on like Life Orb Seed Bombs, and there's even like, I'm not gonna say that they're popular, but I've seen tech stuff like even mixed Shiftry could really hurt Silvally fighting, and more niche stuff like Hurricane that I saw to specifically deal with Machoke and Silvally fighting, which have been and even Shinotic, which are like Shiftry checks are seeing a bit of a rise as of late. My biggest gripe is that most of the mons that could offensively check Shiftry lack recovery and are prone to being worn down rather quickly around alongside the match. And when you're dealing with a mon that carries knockoff, it could be really, even for defensive checks to switch into it, such as Machoke. Shinotic not as much, of course, because like even if it loses leftovers, it's like one of the best shift tree answers in the metagame. But it's just it cripples so many mons, and it kind of has a set diversity, and it's just, while it doesn't have the best speed, I still think like playing around shift tree is like one of the most dangerous things to do, in my opinion. That's my biggest concern.
Okay, so let me get something out of the way before I respond. Shift tree is the best wall breaker in the meta. That is objectively the case. Nothing does that job as well as shift tree does. Not even Xayah, no matter what people say. Shift tree is the best wall breaker in the meta.
Yeah.
I am not going to dispute that.
Banned Golem.
I mean, if you're gonna play,
I can talk about Bad Golem soon. Anyway, let me say, shift tree is the best wall breaker in the meta, but just being the best wall breaker in the meta isn't grounds for being broken. No. And that is something that I think is very important.
I agree, yeah.
Shift tree doesn't have many defensive checks. You named Shinotic, which is the biggest one. Yes, it can be brought down by Z Hurricane, but if you're running Z Hurricane, that means you don't have Life Orb, which is a big deal because Shift tree really isn't that strong without Life Orb. It's still powerful, but it really does want the Life Orb to achieve its KOs. And Shinotic is mainly on the rise because of because of my initiative a few weeks ago. Machoke is very good, and even especially at checking Shift tree, because here's Shift tree's biggest problem: getting in. Hey, there's someone new who's introduced.
High five, Jen.
Yes. You came on the perfect moment, actually. Okay, this is Fight Jen, the other ZLT later. And okay, yeah. Just go on, Xayah, and then we'll do it properly.
Yeah, I'll continue, and then we'll get to Shift. So Shift tree doesn't get in easily. What you just mentioned, Funbot, is fair. Its checks don't have recovery and struggle to get in sometimes on its powerful attacks. But Shift tree doesn't switch in on anything. It doesn't even switch in on Goregeist. So it's so hard to get in, and between rocks and Life Orb, which it almost has to carry, it is so tough to get this thing in multiple times. And while yes, when it is in, it's going to break something and probably get a kill, but it's going to get immediately forced out by the plethora of faster checks we have, and then it has to try that again. And that is why it's not broken, because switching it in is so hard to do that that just having it on your team means you have to play a certain way, and that way is predictable because Shift tree is impossible to switch it on anything.
I agree with that, but I think the argument, it could.
Disagree.
Okay, go ahead, Tack, and then I'll continue.
I'd say it's hard to get in, but slow pivots are really, really good right now. The thing is, Shift tree is, yeah, it's a slow mon, I'll give you that. It's relatively slow compared to the offensive checks in the meta, but it has a ridiculous, but it just pairs incredibly well with any form of slow pivot whatsoever. And that just makes it so free for it to come in.
But you know how many slow pivots we have that are in the A ranks right now?
I would say.
Do you want to guess, like, how many there are? How many slow pivots?
Sylvali, Kamala, what else is there?
Sylvali is not a slow pivot, not the ones in A rank.
Depends how you use it. Because some
fighting is.
It depends how you EV it, but I would say more.
Kamala is the only real slow pivot that we have in the A rank. And while Kamala is very good, especially compared with Shift tree, it's not going to be doing this on its own. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, slow pivots are good, but that's because Kamala is good.
Mm-hmm.
Shift tree on its own isn't getting in very easily. And while, it's nice and all that we have the one slow pivot in the metagame to help it out, that is not enough, in my opinion, to call it broken.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to, because I brought it up before, I think the offensive pair of both Shift tree and Xayah now, I know Xayah is like another contentious mon that people like less so consider like too overbearing, but I find those two just deal with each other's checks super well. Xayah could easily switch into Sylvali fighting, Machoke, especially if it's C move, and Shift tree could switch into the likes of, what is it called? My god, like Marini and stuff, and that could like check Xayah.
Shift tree doesn't really switch into Marini. Shift tree only really switches into Bronzor.
Yeah, Bronzor, and it was probably not the best example, but anyways, like
that's it.
So I just think that those two together just create like such a a strong presence. And while I agree that you can't switch Shiftry into everything, it doesn't have the best bulk and it's easily worn down. The same could be said for its defensive check. So I think that argument can go both ways, and it could be hard.
I'll let 5gen take it first.
All right.
Wait, about what?
About Shiftry.
Yeah.
Or the point you left off?
The point, probably. I mean, whatever you want to say. You just joined, so go ahead.
Okay. So to me, I think it's really good, but I find it's a little overrated in my opinion, because I don't know, for me, like the way I build, I just find you don't really need to pack a lot of answers. Like you can put a couple of checks, or just like Xayah was saying, it's so easy to pressure, and it's only really good against slower teams, and if it can get a boost up, and if it just gets free switches, which is kind of hard to do in this meta.
I think, yeah, and I think, because I think that a thing. Are you done? Wait.
I was gonna say, like, it's checks. Like, yeah, they're easy to wear down, but they're also so easy to pair with like slow pivot, Kamala, and like rich support and stuff like that. So it goes both ways.
I think the thing about Shiftry is, yes, it's defensive checks, which is mainly Silvally fighting, right? That's the best defensive check. Which, I mean, in my eyes is also just an offensive mod, but still a defensive check to Shiftry, but okay. Yes, it's easy to wear down, but it puts way more pressure. Like, you lose momentum for bringing in Shiftry when you're facing a Silvally fighting, and that's really bad. When Shiftry is a heavy investment bond, right? When you bring it in, you need it to do something, and it needs to do it a lot. And when you're facing a Silvally fighting, you take some of its health away. Best case scenario, you leaf storm it and it's really low. Or even Z Hurricane on the switch, in which case you're a god and you deserve the kill. But in general, you're going to be doing some damage to it, and then you're forced out, and it's gonna U-turn out for absolutely free because it loses nothing by U-turning on Shiftry. So you put so much investment into Shiftry, you worked hard to get that mon in, and then what you get in exchange is lost momentum. And yes, that's only one matchup. I agree. You can't say that Shiftry is bad based on that one matchup. But it's a very relevant matchup, and it's an example of what happens with Shiftry a lot. Especially, in my experience, what happens a lot is that I work hard, I get Shiftry in, I put it in the position to set up a Sword Dance or just nuke something, and I do, and then I have lost my momentum again and have to start all over.
Thing is, like, Leaf Storm is the best set.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Leaf Storm, knockoff, Sucker
Leaf
Punch,
Storm does,
default usually.
and Leaf Storm tends to break that situation by making it so Silvally fighting cannot switch in ever again.
Right.
Right, but you've still given up a lot to be able to get Shiftry in, because you always have to give up a lot to get Shiftry in. That's how Shiftry works. And the exchange for, yes, you've broken open Silvally fighting, but you've also once again given up the momentum, and in such an offense-heavy meta, giving up momentum is a problem. Because it's hard to get it back.
I mean, just look at our most common choice Scarf user, Electivire. That's how I usually get my Shiftry in, when it's forced to be locked into either Wild Charges a bit, because it still could not to it KO, but then Shiftry. But I'm talking specifically about Earthquake. Let's say if I want to use Earthquake on your own Scarf Electivire, let's say in an example case. Again, like I'm not saying it's easy to bring in Shiftry. I don't think so, but
yeah.
I just
let me take your example. Let me take your example, right? Let's say Electivire is brought. You have locked in your Electivire into Wild Charge, okay? They bring in their Electivire, and you now know that you can only Wild Charge, and which they're immune to. So you have to either switch out, or you have to stay in and just sack it. Now let's assume generally the least risk play, it depends a lot on the situation, is for you to stay in and for them to Earthquake. Okay? Can we agree on that? Okay, so let's say that happens. That's a common scenario. You lose your Evire, and in exchange for that, you have put yourself in a scenario where their E-Fire is locked to Earthquake and you can bring in your Shift Tree. What you've done in this situation is you've given up a Mon to bring in Shift Tree, which is a heavy investment. But you now have Shift Tree in, so now you're going to gain a fuck ton of momentum. Except you don't, because your Shift Tree might be able to kill the Electivire, or maybe even set up a Swords Dance if you are the set, but then they can bring in their Silvally, they'll take a Sucker Punch if they have played the game correctly and have still have their Silvally at high health. They can just U-turn out on the Shift Tree, and the Shift Tree either switches out or dies, and that is where your E-Fire investment went. And that is why Shift Tree, when it's in, is a terrifying force, but it's also relatively easily forced out again, giving up momentum after such a heavy investment on bringing it in. It's a very good Mon, but I really don't think it's broken because of how easily it's pressured.
But I think it's going back to the whole circular argument that, while I agree with that, it's just the amount of pressure it exerts. I think it's just as rewarding, because I just put in the calc. I usually run around about 168 EVs and HP, let's say, on my Silvally fightings. I know it's varied.
I run none.
Or that's
I don't run any.
Okay, let's say the best case scenario for me, that the 160, and I just calced Life Orb, Leaf Storm, it twit KO, like 70% chance to twit KO without rocks. So
is that considering the drop? Just to make sure I have the calc in my head. I assume it is, but
no, like this is like without drop, like going in.
Okay, so it does like 50%. So
around,
just about.
Yeah. So like, it's
okay,
just
so
the fact, like, if
what you've done is you traded your E-Fire and or whatever other investment you've made to get in Shift Tree for 50% of the Silvally fighting.
But
and you also lose a ton of momentum for that. Like, you see the point. I want to make something very clear. Shift Tree is very good. Again, very good wall breaker. Very threatening, and when it's in, it's going to put in a lot of work. But the fact that it costs so much investment, and the fact that it is then often loses momentum and has given up priority in an offense-heavy meta is what, for me, makes it not broken. And you can argue, I think the best way to argue Shift Tree broken is to say, the reason the meta is so offensive is because that playstyle deals the best with Shift Tree.
I think the core go hand in hand as to why offense is so good right now.
That is and I think that's a fair argument to make. I just disagree with it. I don't think that is why offense is good. I think there are a lot of reasons.
Because I think,
not the least of which is Swan has existed.
But I want to highlight too, like we could go look into this vacuum to look at 1v1 matchups. But let's say for the most common situation, like you have Silvally fighting, usually it's like your Shift Tree check, and like Shift Tree is commonly paired with Golem, right? And let's say your cussed up offensive Golem, like that Silvally fighting takes 50%, and then like what's gonna switch into, you know what I mean? Like, it's because I think our metagame, we rely on like mons like Silvally and like other like defensive pivots as like blanket checks to a ton of mons, is that and that Shift Tree can exert so much pressure on these blanket checks that it could just make it hard for them to check other mons, because there's 5 other team members for Shift Tree, and usually it's commonly paired with a bunch of other offensive threats, like I mentioned before, Swana, Combuskin, and the likes of that. So like, it just makes it just exerts so much pressure. That's my deal. Like, there is a risk of using Shift Tree. It's not the easiest mod to get in. You have to play smart, whatever, and sometimes you have to double switch-ins and like predictions with Sucker Punch, of course. But it's just a payoff.
Yes.
I think the payoff is worth it. That's where I stand. So
Shift Tree, from what your argument is, Shift Tree is, when you get it in, it puts on so much pressure on these blanket checks that many offenses rely on, or offensive balances, or bulky offense, or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, every wall breaker does that. Choice Specs Abomination is really good because it does specifically that. 2 Cannon is rising because it does specifically that. Behem is really good because it does specifically that. Even Swana and Life Orb Kadabra and Nasty Plot Mr. Mime and whatever Silvally you want, offensive Silvally you want to run, all of them do exactly that. That is not something unique to Shift Tree. It's just, Shift Tree is just the best at that job. But it's not something that is unique to it. The thing that's unique to Shift Tree is Sucker Punch, which avoids some of the revenge killing scenarios. Yeah. But Sucker Punch isn't reliable because it's just not strong enough. in most scenarios.
That's debatable, though. I mean, with the commonly offensive mons on HO, they could all be put into sucker range after, like, assuming, let's say you're like Adam Internaughty Life Orb, after a round or two of Stealth Dog.
Yeah, but offense has to deal with shift tree the same way it deals with every other breaker, which is either make very intelligent switches or sack things. That's how offense deals with every wall breaker. That's how offense deals with Electivire and Swanna and Pinsir and any Golem set and Floatzel and Rapidash and that's how offense plays around it. And yes, I'm speaking this from mainly an offense perspective, but that's because it's the most relevant playstyle right. Balance has a lot tougher time against shift tree. I'm not going to deny that. It's very annoying to play balance against shift tree. But balance can play around it if it's clever. And so can Stall. Stall has no real problems with shift tree because it has so many checks to it on every team. Semi-Stall has a bit more trouble, but I think it can handle it fine. And Hyper Offense just ignores shift tree's existence.
Hyper Offense ignores everything's existence. What are you
exactly.
on about?
I mean, but that's, to me, it's that like the whole hyper offense kind of thing is just, it's assuming that you're going to get the sucker plays 100% correct all the time, which, you know, you can make the argument for and against, right? Because that's, like, it's a 50-50 at the end of the day, but I think...
No, I think, here's the thing. I don't think Hyper Offense is going to get the sucker plays 100% of the time. There are going to be times where Hyper Offense is just too heavily pressured and it's just going to get cleaned by a sucker punch shift tree. But is that a problem? That means that the shift tree player has pressured the opponent by outplaying them, by winning the mind games, and eventually gotten a Pokemon with reasonably strong priority to clean up. I think that's rewarding skillful play, and I don't see how that's grounds for shift tree being broken.
I don't know. I think it just exists because you mentioned the whole thing about comparing it to other wall breakers like Spexobama Snow for sure, but I guess it's due to the fact that the main concern with Shiftry is just knockoff being such like a bitch too. Like for stuff.
Knockoff is a thing. It makes Machoke a lot less solid of a check, and I agree. Knockoff is kind of annoying, but I really don't think that makes Shiftry broken either. Like I'm gonna recently I played a game against a Shiftry, and I brought in my Combusken against it. I had a 1v1 with Combusken, which obviously Combusken wins because both of its stabs just KO. I went greedy and I clicked Swords Dance, expecting Shiftry to switch out because Shiftry was pretty solid against my team. He didn't. He clicked Dark. He went for Black Hole Eclipse instead, and then Sucker Punched my Combusken to finish it off. Now, technically, the opposing Shiftry just broke past my best Shiftry check because, and you could argue, well, that's makes Shiftry broken because, you know, it breaks past his own checks. We can't really do anything against it. But I don't think so. That is a misplay on my part. I got greedy for it while I didn't know the shift reset. I could have protected on the Black Hole Eclipse and it would never have been able to break Combusken. And I would have been fine. That's a mistake that got punished. And I think that is where a lot of Shiftry, the problems people have with Shiftry comes from. Shiftry is really good at punishing mistakes. But I don't think it's good enough at punishing mistakes to really be broken. It didn't win from there, by the way. I still played around it, despite having a team weak to Shiftry. But, yeah.
I mean, I think it's... just my final stance, like, I agree what you say for sure, that you need to play smart with Shiftry. But it's just that sometimes clicking knockoff is such a risk-free move. And it's just, like, the amount of... I know, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just... Sometimes it could be put in the scenario which it could be hard to bring in, but like your opponent can't really react to it, and if they do, they have to like it's either something's getting heavily weakened, like I mentioned before, Savali fighting could get to it KO'd, and then Golem is gonna apply a lot of pressure when it comes in. Let's say if that's, you know, depending on the team, of course, but like I think it just offers too much of a reward for like when it comes in, and like the amount of counteraction could be hard at times unless you're at like a good scenario, like a healthy Combusken, or you brought your Savali fighting in safely. and that's that. So
I disagree. I disagree with that the reward is so high that it's broken. I really don't think it is, because again, you say Silvally fighting gets 2 KO, but it really doesn't. It gets 2. Technically, it takes 50% from Leaf Storm, which means it then takes back the momentum because it's faster and it Oko shift with U-turn or multi-attack.
Anyways, does anyone else want to leave their comments on Shift 3 before we move on?
I think it's just the mon that rewards good play more than anything. Because like, even on paper, it's like it can do so many things, but as a player, you're gonna have to get the plays right and all that. So it's not like it's gonna single-handedly break through a team just because of knockoff or something like that. Because if it was that easy, then stuff like if it was that easy, then it would just break through things. But like I've been playing a lot of balance lately, and I find that defensive checks that just are able to come in on it like Mawile and Z-move rapid Ash with Morning Sun and stuff like that. So
well, that's fair. I've been seeing a lot of those two specifically.
yeah.
Honestly, I've just found it very annoying to deal with in the builder for any kind of balance stuff. Just because you need a lot of checks to not be torn apart by it, which I think is unhealthy. I don't know how I feel about. I don't know if I think this is broken. I don't know how I'd vote in a suspect scenario at all. I'm not sure I'd even bother getting Rex. I never really do. And I don't like art. I just like going with the flow, honestly.
Builder and play is a lot different because when do you really ever see like Z Hurricane and stuff like that?
Yeah, you have to scout out the set like very heavily in a manner that reminds me of Frost, but isn't quite as awful.
I think the biggest thing that separates Frostom and Shiftry, well, one, Frostom had an immunity, a better immunity than Shiftry has. But two, I think the main thing is Volt Switch.
Right. If Shiftry had the momentum, that would be... Like,
if Shiftry had U-turn, we'd ban it.
Yeah.
But the thing about Frostom was, if like we get a similar scenario with the Silvally fighting, Shiftry does 50% to Silvally fighting and then gives up momentum. Frostom does 40% to Silvally fighting and then gains momentum. That is the difference there.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, and no one argued, like, for sure, like, I agree to that notion too, like, Rotom Frost is it would be way better in a metagame like this compared to Shiftry because of that momentum specifically.
Yeah.
But, anyways, moving on from Shiftry, I wanted to talk, I mentioned it before, but another offensive partner and just offensive mon in general that's been gaining a lot of hype as recently is Swanna, of course. I love Swanna. I use it, like, almost all the time. Whether it be Z Rain Dance, Choice Scarf, Z Mirror Move, or just even Life Orb. I think it's really versatile and it just applies a ton of pressure. But okay, so I don't consider Swanna broken. That's where I
This is probably just me, but I, for the life of me, cannot get Swanna to work. I don't know why. I've been playing offense since I joined ZU, and Swanna should be a mon that really fits me, but for whatever reason, I can never get it to do what it's supposed to.
That's just because you suck.
That's probably true. Honestly. I don't know why, but Swanna does not work for me. On paper, it's amazing. It has like 17 different offensive sets where like basically it has 12 moves, just about, and you can pick any 4 of those and you have a good Swanna set.
Right. Because its offenses are like the same, so...
Yeah, it's so super versatile, and its typing is incredible. It's faster than Silvally's, which is really important. But I don't know. I feel like for some reason, every time I use Swanna, I just get faced against a muck or whatever, and I can never break it because I'm special. Or when I use physical, I'm like, I don't know, I'm facing a Bronzor or something, and I can never kill it for whatever reason.
Alright.
How? Z-Mirror Move smashes. What?
Yeah. I haven't used Z-Mirror Move yet. Maybe I need to try that.
Yeah,
but I've used Scarf, I've used Special Life, I've used Physical Life, I've used Planium Z without Mirror Move on both spectrums. I've used Scarf. I don't know if I said that one yet, but I don't know. I can't get it to work. So today I just said, well, fuck it. I'll use Float Zone instead. Even though it's worse, I don't understand why Swana doesn't work.
But I think
Maybe it's you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say maybe it's just him.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Because
really
I've been keeping up with seasonal. I've been seeing Swana put in a hell of a lot of work. Maybe it's just the few games I've seen, but yeah, like you said, it could be hard in scenarios where like you bring the wrong set versus the wrong team, like especially defensive muck against like either Scarf or Z Rain Dance could, like if muck is weakened, but like a healthy muck can wall that. So like sometimes you could be in a situation where like you have just the wrong Swana set in the wrong time, but I think for the most part it generally puts in a lot of work each game that I've been using it. Again, that's probably something personal, but
I think the biggest thing holding Swana back right now is the fact that all of its that while it has a lot of different sets, all of its different sets have common checks.
right.
So it tends to just have games where it does nothing. But when it doesn't face the right check, it puts in a ton of work.
Right.
It's really good.
And then people bring up the argument like,
Yeah, it's really good.
Scarfy Vire, but I've seen a lot of more Scarf Swana nowadays, and even Z Rain Dance could outspeed, and even Z Mirror move if Electivire is weakened enough, you know, +2 Aqua Jet could potentially revenge kill that. So, you know, I've seen Swana like kind of work around Electivire as of late, even though it's probably its best offensive check, of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's that. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything more.
It's really good. Like, talked to a bunch of people about it, and it's pretty much the same thing. Like, it's so versatile and it's so good. But the thing is, for me, it needs the right set at the right time.
Right.
Or even just,
Yeah.
like, let's say it's playing balance. If there's a special wall, then it isn't really going to break anything.
Right.
Mhm.
I think its best matchup, of course, is versus like offense, like Shift Tree. I would say, like,
Yeah, because these dual stabs are like
right,
So
so hard to
free.
switch
versus
into.
offense.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to more balanced teams, when you see mons like Licky Leaky or Muck,
What?
I've seen it before, but or like even stuff like Assault Vest Kecleon, if it's special, like it could just kind of stop it. But
Yeah.
it's still good. But
And of course, if it's physical, it's going to kill itself with Brave Bird and Life Orb.
yeah, that's
so-
true. Especially with Stealth Rock.
People run Life Orb on Swana?
I've been running a lot of Life Orb, but that's because I usually run Z-move. And Life Orb lets it break past some fun stuff. Like, I think Liquidation, Life Orb Liquidation 2 KO's Bronzor,
really.
which is really cool.
Yeah, that's nice. I usually run the combination of Z-move Swana and Life Orb Combustion. I think those two work really well together, but that's just my preference.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, so that's Swana. Another, just to kind of clarify why we're talking about, because I want to talk about Kamala next, it's because recently there was the VR shift that it was previously just Kamala that kind of dropped down from S rank to A+ rank, and now we have no S rank mons anymore. So, and a lot, like some people agree like it's fine, but then others it kind of looks unorthodox. And speaking of like Kamala dropping, I still consider I still really like it. The Assault Vest set has kind of maybe died down alongside Bulk Up Knockoff, but I still love just Wish Rapid Spin support, and of course Choice Band will always be great. So yeah, I still love Kamala. I know Xayah.
Excuse me. AV did not die down. AV is its best fucking set right now, and no one.
I still like CB. I still prefer CB.
I love AV right now. AV fits perfectly on the million bulky offense that are happening everywhere. It's just such good utility. That mon, it's knockoff, it's a pivot, it's rapid spin, and it's a breaker in just its 4 moves.
Right.
Like, and other than its AV set, for the record, I voted to keep Kamala S rank, as you probably can guess, because I still think Kamala is the best mon in the meta. It has its problems, but I just think it's the most versatile, the easiest to fit on the team. But yeah, other than AV, I think CB, as you said, is much better now than it was a month ago, because Gorgeist has been dropping off, and Gorgeist dropping off means CB Kamala rises back again, because Gorgeist is really its only switch-in, especially with Tangela gone.
Right.
And
so Valley Ghost like makes it as
Right.
return more. Yeah.
So Valley Ghost disappear too. Bulk up, yes, bulk up definitely dropped off because the rise of offense means bulk up Kamala struggles. I think SD is still garbage. 5gen has been using a lot of Wish knockoff U-turn, which is kind of cool as well. I have been trying it out. I don't like it quite as much as AV or just CB or even Wish rapid spin, but it's definitely not bad. And one of my favorite sets right now is Choice Scarf, which I know sounds weird, but it's good.
We were talking about that being a meme set last time, remember? And now look how things change. Yeah. I've seen it too.
No, I've been using Choice Scarf the last 4 months a ton. It catches people off guard because it's so fucking strong for a Choice Scarf user.
Right.
Its return is way stronger than E-Fire's Wild Charge, for example. And it has perfect coverage, of course, as Kamala always does. It catches every Swanna and every Shift 3 off guard. It's fast. As opposed to Scarf and Bomb Mission, which is the most comparable one, it's actually faster than Float Soul, which is really good. I don't think I have much else to say about it. It's just really...
Okay, the reason why Bulk Up Knockoff kind of died down is because Silvally Fighting has been picking up again, and that was like a lot of people didn't like that set, like they found it like really overbearing, but now I don't like it as much. I think it just gives up too much momentum trying to like boost up, and then it could just easily be worn down. So
I still love Bulk Up. It's still fun.
I have not been able to get Bulk Up to work anymore. I actually for just
really
a week
bad
or so
now, though, yeah.
For a week or so, I said Bulk Up Kamala is broken because I genuinely thought Bulk Up Kamala pushed it over the edge, but then basically immediately died down again. So never.
Right. So I have to try Z. I liked using Z-moves before, but again, I think it's just too slow to kind of put in that much work unless you're facing like a really passive team. But yeah, like you said, Assault Vest, Choice Band, Choice Scarf. All work really well, and yeah, it's really splashable. So if I would vote on the next VR, I would definitely vote it back to S rank. I forgot what I did last time, and alongside Swanna. Shift Stream maybe, but I definitely think Swanna and Kamala could deserve going back to S.
S rank in my eyes, I think top 3 mons is obvious to me, at least. It's Shift 3, Swanna, Kamala. It has to be. They're just the 3 best mons in the meta, where one is extremely splashable, another is extremely effective, and another one is maybe broken. But right now, I think I'm of the opinion that all 3 should be S rank. I didn't vote like that in the last VR slide. I think that was a mistake. I voted both Shift and Swanna in A+, but in hindsight, I should have voted S rank for both. But I think you can only put Swanna and Shift 3 in S rank if Kamala is also there.
Right, yeah.
I think you either put all 3 of them in S rank or none of them, because I don't think any one of them is better than the other 2.
Yeah, I could get
at least not significantly so.
Yeah, I could get behind that for sure. But okay, so that's.
And I definitely think they're all 3 better than Pinsir and Golem and Evire.
Yeah.
Even though they are like really good as well, but they're not.
S tier Pinsir, come on.
No, that was a while back when Shift 3 was suddenly on the. Wasn't.
Right. But anyways, so just as the final topic before this video gets too long, there was talk of a throw resuspect, because for those who don't know, throw is in ZOBL right now. It was quite, like, I would say for the most part it was quite even in terms of bringing it back and like keeping it banned. My opinion on that, I don't know, I'm kind of like in the middle too. I could see the benefit, of course, but I could also see it being overbearing, specifically when it comes to bulk up sets or just circle throw plus like hazards could be annoying too. So I really don't know what to think when it comes to throw. Maybe you guys could give more input, but...
So, throw, when it was first brought up, I just said straight up, the bulk up set is broken. Then I tried it out a bit more, and I was slowly getting to the point where I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe it's worth trying. And then 5gen and I built a team around Flame Orb, Guts. And then we noticed, okay, so every single check for the bulk up set gets destroyed by the Flame Orb set. Which means that within 2 sets, this mon beats the entire metagame.
Right.
That's not fair.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
if you think Shift Tree can break through teams, then
What mon are we talking about?
Throw.
Or Machoke?
No, throw.
Yeah, throw's dumb.
Yeah.
Throw is dumb.
Yeah.
Keep throw banned.
It kind of reminds me of the situation, I don't know if you guys were there, but when Hariyama was being suspected or resuspected in trying to get back into PO, where people were praising like, oh, the thick fat set would have been greatly beneficial for the metagame, because I believe at the time mons like Magmordar and Pyro were still around, so it could check that.
Yeah, that was back when they still had fire.
Yeah. But so like you have a set where I think like maybe bulk up and just like circle throw plus knockoff plus like sleep talk rest wouldn't be overbearing. It might be nice to check mons like we said Shift Tree, and I don't know how well it does against CB Kamala if it runs defense.
However, every other set is ridiculous.
But
and not healthy in any way, shape, or form.
I think my opinion
should not be legal.
My opinion on throw is guts on its own would be fine to have in the meta. I don't think it's a broken breaker at all. BU circle throw on its own, I think is very close to broken, but might be healthy. But together they're stupid.
Right. I would say that too.
I would say guts alone is too much.
Really?
Because nothing can really check it like defensively. Like it has all the tools it needs to just do anything it wants defensively to.
Right.
Like it would push the meta even more towards offense.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I don't think I'd be.
Sounds like Xayah's wet dream to me.
Because
excuse me, I want a healthy metagame, not an offense metagame.
No, but
I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell if you know the difference or not.
Okay, fair enough.
Because like in terms of, apart from the gut set, I think mons like when we're talking about like sets using rest and sleep talk, I think for the most part when we have like there are threats that could deal with that, like Swana, and even we mentioned rising threats like Mr. Mime could break through with that. But like when it comes to like when thinking about a gut switch in, I can't really think of any that's secure, right? Like it's basically like Shift Tree on steroids in terms of
Gork was the closest to switching into guts, but it took like 40% from Ice Punch.
Right. So,
and could just get toxic.
Right.
I think I ran superpower knock facade toxic. Which just meant that Gork wasn't the problem anymore.
Right.
At first I ran Ice Punch, but thanks to 5gen, we switched it to Taunt or Toxic in the last slot. We're still discussing which one is better, but okay.
But even then, like when you think of Gork checking physically offensive threats, usually it relies on its status and relies on foul play. Let's say some red set, and at least Seek Bomb I don't think is doing that much to throw. It has pretty good bulk, so it can't really respond to throw, even if it does manage to switch in relatively safely. So. Again, I don't really. If you think of like physically defensive, like the only like good check I could think of, like a really physically defensive Gramble, maybe with Z Heal. But
fun fact, Tangela could actually check it.
Yeah, but too bad. We don't have that.
Too bad, huh?
Yeah, or even if we had Silvally Ghost, that would have been nice too. But anyways.
No, Silvally Ghost didn't stand a chance. It got destroyed by knockoff.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, throw isn't choice locked when it's guts.
Right. So
even if you switch into superpower as Silvally Ghost.
Yeah, you're gonna get like really so I don't know. I would probably keep it to stay banned right now because I think we have too many wall breakers already as it stands. But it's interesting to think about at least when it comes to all the sets.
Yeah, I think it was fun. It was good to have the conversation, but I think we need to move on from it. Just accept that it's not happening.
Yeah.
Frost, it's more balanced than throw.
No, it's not. I honestly think Frost Tom is more broken than throw.
Yeah, I would say that too. I mean, fuck Frost Tom.
Fuck Subsplit specifically.
No, just ICMZ was awful as a set.
Hell, I still hate Choice Scarf, even though it was the most common. I hated Choice Scarf, so...
Choice Scarf was the most common, and probably the best. But...
No, it was the worst, honestly.
Nah, Choice-Scarf was really good.
Like
No,
it's
Choice-Scarf was...
it's E-Fire
it
on
was good.
steroids.
But compared to all of its other sets, Choice Scarf fucking sucked.
I heavily disagree.
I would say Choice Scarf is more consistent than Z-Move. I would say.
Yeah, definitely. More
But
consistent.
Z-Move is like it's weird, but Z-Move is like better-ish, like when you use it right.
That set was LO sub-split.
Yeah.
Also, why the hell do we always end up on...
it's bound to happen. I predict it to happen before Senate.
Because
the
we love
entire
to hate
Zentu
it.
community has a frost.
Because we love to hate it.
Yeah. I want Stoutland back. That would be cool, but anyway, that's probably not gonna happen.
I do not want Stoutland back. We can't even have Stoutland back. We banned it.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Isn't it usage in PU anyway right now?
Yeah, right now it is.
Yeah.
But even
Yeah, I
Zen
forgot.
BL.
Yeah. I thought that we kept it, but yeah.
it was here for 1 month. We all said no,
Right.
and then it rose again.
But anyways, okay, this video has been long enough. It was great having this discussion in terms, even though stuff like Shishri, we could agree to disagree, and I definitely, I understood your points. I'm not saying like your points aren't valid, but I still stick to my stance. I think.
No, same here. I mean, I understand the argument for shift being broken. I just disagree.
Okay. So that's good. So anyways, hopefully this video could help spark more discussion on that. And in general, just bring more people to ZU, because let's hope for more good things to come, you know. I would really like a ZU Premier League. Once like old gens get stabilized.
We're working on it.
So you claim, but the ghost in you lives, and it's dead, Xayah.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just, I'm tired. Fuck off.
All right. Okay, so I'll probably end the video now. Thank you guys for coming on, and let's hope we do something soon.
Bombot smells.
All right.
Thanks for having
Bye.
us.
Bye, Tasker.
See ya.